What's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be installing a full 6-inch rough country lift kit here on Denim, our 96 OBS Yukon, which has currently just got the factory keys cranked in order to stuff with 35s on it, which honestly, it does look absolutely amazing as is. I love the leveled out, stuffed look, but I knew from the beginning I wanted to go taller in order to open up the possibilities of a lot more wheels and tires. It definitely does take some modifying in the front of this truck in order to install this, but I'm going to walk y'all through it, and by the end, hopefully you'll be able to install it just like I am in your driveway. First step is going to be disconnecting the battery and getting this thing up in the air. All right, there we go. Now we can start tearing this thing apart. All right, we got to go ahead and get the preload off of the torsion bars. Obviously, this side's going to be fun because we have our factory exhaust running right here, so we might actually have to lift this up or work our way around it, but you're going to need a torsion bar tool. Okay, bolts out. Do not stick your finger in there in case this were to slip. All right, that's out. Let's loosen the key all the way down. Well, there's that. All right, torsion bar and key is out. The way that I did it was, after spraying some stuff on there, I came up here to the front and actually used a tap to hammer that thing back that way, which freed it up, and then I could go from the back and wiggle it back forward. So if you do still have this liner, go ahead and do yourself a favor, pop it out. Go ahead and take our ABS wire loose, 13 mil. Now, yours might very well break off like that, just like mine did. Brittle old plastic. Well, if yours is anything like mine, you're gonna have to really dig to get these unburied because they're gonna be covered up in grease. But we got a 1/2 inch on top, 13 mil holding this bolt underneath here. Take this line free, and then we're just gonna put that back on there. All right, time to get our axle nut off. I believe this is a 36 mil. Go ahead and throw you a flathead in your brakes so you can pop it free. Probably gonna need some kind of cheater bar because this mug is on there. But just bear down and break her loose. Oh, that one wasn't as bad. But it's not fun all the way off. Dance it off of there. There we go. 18 mil holding this top strut bolt on. Same deal down here on the lower bolt. Now I want to go ahead and take our CV axle free. These are 15 mils. You want to do this before you take the brakes off. I've already cracked them loose, but we'll go ahead and take them off all the way now. Taking the brakes off, you have this 3/8 inch Allen head, which is definitely annoying. But got 2 of those and we can get these brakes out the way. Want to go ahead and pry so that our pads will come off of the rotor. Just wiggle it off of there, and we're gonna bungee cord it out of the way over here. And go ahead and slide the rotors off. 18 mil to get our tie rod off. And of course, you gotta give this thing a little loving. You got a 13 mil on the end of this sway bar end link, and you just gotta work this baby up out of there. There we go. And we're obviously gonna replace ours because this thing is clapped. Your top bolt is gonna be a 1 inch. And we are not taking it all the way off. We are just getting it down to the bottom. Down below, we got a 27 mil. Gosh dog. Bigger wrench. There we go. There it is. There it went. We're going to finagle this guy off as well as pulling our CV axle that away without tearing up anything. You might have to tap the end right here. Get that started. Once it's like that, where it's free, we can now go ahead and take it off. There she moves. Let's go ahead and take our upper control arm off. It's 13/16. Your lower control arm bolts are going to be a 13, 15, 16, and you can hold it with a 1-inch or accurate size. Get that guy free, put our washer and our nut back on there and set it aside, and we can finagle this lower control arm out with the torsion bar still in it. And then we'll get the torsion bar out. The instruction says to go ahead and take your tie rod end links off, but since they're probably going to be a booger to get out with that very limited amount of space, we're going to go ahead and just drop the whole center link with the tie rods on there, because you got to drop the center link anyways. So it is a 21mm bolt on the idler and pitman arm, and now I'm hopefully going to hit a pickle fork a couple times and it's going to fall to the ground. Ta-da! We got 4 11mm bolts holding this front drive shaft on. Unfortunately, I think we do have to cut the factory exhaust in order to reattach this once the diff is actually dropped, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, well, we don't want it right underneath because we are about to drop that front diff, so we'll have to make sure we don't hit that when we're coming down. All right, now we want to take our differential vent hose free. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and unplug our front diff. And then next up is dropping it down. There she is. 21mm. Not a 21 on this back side, it is larger. Bingo, 7/8. And I have a good feeling because I feel like this diff is a lot smaller than the Duramax's was. But then again, I did have Lauren help me some with that. And we're going solo here, so let's hope we don't drop it. All right, she's free. Keep that in case you ever want to get your truck back to stock. You can get that welded back on. So if you couldn't tell exactly what I was doing, I basically cut this guy off from there. This little arm that reaches around to the other side of the diff. You cut that off. Now we can drop it out and it will not be reused. The new drop bracket will have a mount for it. Clear that front drive shaft. Just letting the jack work with me. Trying to be patient. Out, everything's out, I believe. Drop her down. Booyah. This lift kit does drop the entire front suspension 6 inches, including the upper control arm mounts. So there's going to be a new bracket right here. That means we got to cut off this factory bump stop. So combination of a Sawzall and a grinder. I'm going to go through here, cut it off, grind it nice and flush. That way our new upper control arm bracket will mount in here nice and smooth. Now we're going to use the wire brush real quick to clean up the inside of these mounting points. And we're going to throw a little bit of paint on this bump stop place where we cut it off, just to prevent from rusting. We are going to go back and do a complete frame treatment, but not today. We're going to finagle this guy right in here. Come on. There we go. And this is what drops our upper control arm. So then we're using these squares on the inside here. Doesn't say to use a washer on the other side, just a nut. I don't really know if they were just assuming you would. I don't know why they would do that. Anyways, let's throw the square. Find our hole. Got the passenger side diff drop in using the supplied hardware, and then the driver side diff drop in using the factory hardware. Just got done putting our new bump stops using the factory nut on our bump stop bracket, which then I attached to our rear drop bracket. 4 bolts, 8 washers, 4 lock nuts. Now it is actually time to throw the front differential back in there before we install this, but I haven't cut it yet. So this is the part that I'm honestly most scared about. We've got to cut down these cooling fans right here. It says do it 1/4 of an inch. So yeah, I'm going to find the nerve to cut it down from, like, I think it's here forward, 1/4 of an inch. And then we can throw that back in there, as well as I think we're missing the actual proper drop for the torsion bar. This is for the truck, not the 4-door Yukon Tahoe. Since we gotta wait for that new part to come in anyways, there's no reason for me to be rushing through this. So I'm gonna go ahead, take a chill pill, do the extra steps that you should do while you have everything disassembled. So I found a can of frame coating. So I went ahead, wire wheeled the frame down, got that all coated up nice. It looks great. Now we're gonna soak all of these stock components in Purple Power and then pressure wash them, because obviously they desperately need it, including our front diff, which is super dirty. Ziploc bag over the plugs, plastic bag with zip tie over our vent hose. All right, way too much time later. I better have it done enough. I've already put it up underneath there twice, checking it, and it just wasn't enough. So basically that back fin, it's the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4, if your case is the same. You got to get that baby all the way down to the actual case where it's round. And hopefully it fits now, because I cut a lot off before and it still didn't fit. So now we've got it all ground down, and let's hope, because I do not feel like taking this thing back out again. Well, she's in there, got it mounted up top first, and then over there on the passenger side, and it clears. It's relatively close. I mean, that's plenty of room. But yeah, you definitely got to trim it down that far if your diff is the same. Now I'm going to go ahead, throw this guy in there. Hopefully it doesn't shift it any to where it actually hits again. But using factory hardware, I'm going to throw the rear drop cross member in. Rear drop bracket is officially in, and the diff is bolted up all the way around. As you can see right there, though, we are going to have to cut the factory exhaust in order to reattach that front drive shaft. I think it's a 2-inch little bitty pipe. I'm going to go to the parts store later and try to get some flex pipe so I don't have to run open manifold until we get to the exhaust shop. Time to drill out this front mount hole. Let's bear down on her. Oh, come on, drill. There we go. All right, this is for our rear mount. This sleeve goes through the frame. Go ahead and put your bolt through it. That way you don't accidentally drop it in the frame rail. Slap that baby on there. We'll put our spacer washers in here. Slide our bolt in. Get it started on the back side. Tighten these babies down. And then I'm going to go ahead and torque down these upper bolts. Just got our new center link in. And pro tip, if yours tries to start free spinning when you're putting the nut on, go ahead, take your jack, lift it up some, put some pressure up there, and hopefully yours will be like mine, where it tightens up and you can zip that nut on there, no problem. So now the instructions say we need to invert the sway bar. So that tells me we just flip it 180 degrees. So it'll go from this to this, which I think is correct, but obviously we'll find out once we get all the rest of the parts on.
I realized something.
What?
When I was picking that fit.
What?
If you pitch your fit, you don't get your way.
Dude, bingo. All right, guys, we're throwing our front cross member in, hopefully without too much trouble. Oh, beautiful. Slid right up in there. After another glance at the instructions, you do have to put the bolt in facing this way instead of like that, which I think is how it came out. You want to have it this way so that there's less sticking out in order for more clearance on your steering center link. So I gotta go flip that one around. My blood sacrifice has officially been paid on this install. Installing this old Heim joint from our front cross member to our center link. So you basically stack them up like this with the spacer on the top of your front drop bracket, the washer, the lock ring, your bolt going through, nut on the bottom, and then over there attached to the center link, we have the spacer on top, washer on the bottom, and then the bolt going through. They thread into that center link.
That's actual blood?
That is real blood, bro.
What happened?
It must be sacrificed during the install of this caliper.
What happened?
I slipped. I struck metal.
Cut.
Metal one.
Cut.
Sliced, bro. You've been digging.
Yep.
We scratched this side of this mount and this side of the drive shaft so it goes back in there the same way that it came out. And she's good to go. Let's go ahead and put our new vent hose extension on. Put the plastic piece in this one, then in that one. Slide that baby onto there, and I'm gonna put some zip ties on it. And make sure you plug in your full drive system. All right, I'm gonna show you all the easiest way that I have found to install the spindle as well as the CV axle together. So you wanna go ahead, take your bolts off, slip the lower one in, go ahead and throw your nut on the bottom of it. Now take your jack, slide it in here. You can take your axle, slide it in here, best way you can. There's a little gap right here. Should give you enough clearance. Get it in here. Pick that up. Get your splines lined up like that. Just lay it down for the moment. And then check it up some. Well, you don't even have to actually. We've got clearance. And we can throw our top nut on. And you can see just how easy that is. Then all you gotta do is obviously tighten this down, throw your 15 mil, I think 6 bolts in that axle, and she's installed. Now all you gotta do is put your axle nut on, tighten these guys down, tighten those guys down after we get the brakes on, and throw your cotter pins in. Well, I somehow totally forgot about the brace bars for the drop bracket, but I just got them installed and it was super easy. So on the round end, there is 2 black bushings. You can just squeeze them in together. Then there is a metal insert. Just stick it in there, and then I rotated it and pushed it on the ground, pushing it through. Then you just do bolt, washer, washer, nut. Got that baby in there. And then over here, you just got bolt, washer, washer, nut. And it did say in the instructions you might have to drill it out on a Tahoe, but the Yukon had the bolts. If you look over there, there's ever so slightly enough clearance from the bolt touching the top metal, but you're good to go. So our brace bars are in. All right, so I got quite a few things knocked out. Let me go ahead and catch you up to speed. So one thing that was scary to me was the whole brake line situation, because if you don't get extended brake lines, you're gonna have to bend your factory lines. And at first, I was like, man, that's pretty daggum sketchy, but it's honestly not bad at all. You don't have to bend them that much. So on the driver's side, you're gonna have this line. It's gonna be the last in row with this. You can't really see it, but there's a mount that holds all the lines in. Pop that up, pop it free. Then behind the frame, there's one here that holds these 2 in. let those free. Then you're gonna move this guy forward. That way, bend it. Just don't do it with your hands. Use like a tool, anything round. Round it over. Bend it nice, and you don't want to freaking pop it to where it breaks. But your factory mount is right here, holding it up here. You're gonna take this guy loose, then you're gonna pop this clamp up or clip, take that mount off. You're not reusing it. This is the rough country one. And like I said, just ever so carefully bend this until it lines up and you're good. It's not that big a deal. Then I just threw this back in there. It's holding those both in place. Our lines are in up there. On the passenger side, it's even easier because you just have to basically pull it forward and then rotate this down, because this is like right here. You're good to go. Obviously got our shocks in as well, which you'll have a little metal piece here and in the bottom. You got, I think, 2 extra, which are different sizes than what you'll need. Just make sure you line them up. The 2 caps go on each side of this and the extra metal piece. And this might look to you upside down, but it says right there, top pointing up. So I think it looks really good, but it does look like it's opposite of what a lot of shocks typically, are. What else do we do? I got our ABS wires bolted back down. You can't put this one there. There's not enough clearance. Got it plugged in there. CV axles are tightened down. Axle nut tightened down. Brakes on, tightened down. Picked up these at Advance Auto. They were like $11 a piece. Sway bar end links. Picked up some 2-inch flex pipe to at least get us by. 2-inch flex pipe, 2-inch clamps. That'll at least allow us after Christmas sometime to go to the exhaust shop and get that properly done, so we're not running open manifold. Thankfully, I was able to find a set of these torsion bar drop brackets made for the Yukon, so I went ahead, picked these babies up. We're gonna go ahead and install them. Pretty easy install, but to get your factory torsion bar cross member out, it's a 21 mil or a 13/16. Take your upper bolts out, then you can take the arms off. We're not reusing those. And then to install the drop, you just line it up with those rivets, clamp it on there. We're gonna drill holes out top and bottom, and then we'll be able to slide our cross member in there and be done with the front once we throw our torsion bars back in there. But crazy enough, so the other day when we cranked the keys right, I told you we couldn't crank the driver as much as the passenger. Well, I just found out why. Because somehow, some way, a bolt that has clearly not been threaded onto anything, because it's got blue Loctite. Is this a factory defect? Is this something that happened from the factory? Somehow, some way, did that bolt get left in here? Because that looks like a torsion bar bolt. But I took them both out, and that clearly was in there when I was trying to crank that puppy down, because it bent the tar. That's crazy. That's got to be, look how rusty. That has got to be put in there from the factory somehow, some way. It got lost in there and forgotten and has been there since 96. That's insane. Boys, let me tell you, we are on the home stretch finally. So got our new tie rods in, threw our skid plates on front and bottom, which you don't have to use. If you want it to look a little taller, you can leave those off. We might take the bottom one off, but it looks good for now. Got our torsion bar drop in, 4 bolts holding it in. Bars are in, keys are in, everything is good to go. Unless I just forgot something in the front, we're done up here. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the truck jacked up, throw the wheels and tires back on, and then it's time to get started on the rear. Now it's time to install our rear lift kit, which we have blocks and an add-a leaf. But I think we're just gonna install the rear blocks because I think they sell this kit as a 4 or a 6-inch kit, and it's obviously a torsion bar lift. So just depends on how high you wanna crank that. That's how much the truck is actually gonna lift. So if you're wanting it a little bit lower, whether that be in the back of the truck overall, you'll just install the lift blocks. But if you want maximum height in the rear, you're going to do the blocks and the add-a leaf. But I'm not cranking the front of the keys on this thing, so I don't want to have it sitting butt high, rake down like the factory. So I think we're just going to do the blocks for now, and then if it does sit squatted, then we'll go ahead and throw our leaf pack in there. Let's go ahead and take our sway bar end links loose. It's going to be a 15 mil on both sides, and about a week ago would have been best, but if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and spray some liquid wrench on your U-bolt nuts, because this is always a huge pain in the butt. And I guess if you haven't done it yet, do it now. It might help, but it ain't a bad idea to start soaking them babies a couple days before the install. Rusty mess. I totally forgot about our shock, so before we can drop this thing down, we got to take this little guy off. It's 13/16, same as the U-bolts. Let's go ahead and do this on both sides. Holy crap. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're good. And you're going to want to install this with the shorter end pointing forward. Obviously, this dowel pin goes down in the axle. This hole is what the leaf spring goes in. I don't even know if y'all could see any of that. Hopefully you could. There it is. And she's almost lined up. It's going to take a little finagling, but shouldn't be too bad. Is it going to line up or is it going to launch it? Looks like it's going to straighten right on out. Beautiful. So our new lock nuts that come with the kit are actually a 7/8. We got two 14 mils at the top of the shock. Definitely want to put your Squinter 3000s on because this thing is about to rain down all kinds of little particles. Time to throw our new shock in. We're going to do it differently than we did on the other side because you might can see over there. It's not even installed properly because your boy's muscles said, I'm tired and checked out. So I'm going to have to wait a little bit and then try to tackle that because I cut the line after I bolted it up top and I can't freaking push it up there and get the bolt in. So let's go ahead, throw the bolt in at the bottom here, and we're gonna snip it and try to line that baby up. And even if we don't, it should be easier to just twist the top, get it to line up. Okay, oh, and there she goes. All right, fully launched. All right, well, we're pretty good. So that's, if I don't speak too soon, that's definitely gonna be the technique. Okay, all right. Oh yeah, okay. So that's definitely the technique. All right, all that's left is to pick our sway bar up and hopefully, wow. Okay, so if you just do the lift blocks, it should line up. It does. So is it flat? No. But is it on there? Yes. I'm gonna go ahead, snug these guys up, both sides. Go back, hand tighten everything, make sure everything is properly torqued. Throw the wheels and tires on, and if it sits right, it's time for the reveal, boys. Hate to do that to y'all, but it's not quite time for the reveal. We got to do one more thing, and that is going to be throwing our lower valance back on. Y'all let me know, do you like it better like this, or do you like it like this with that lower valance reinstalled? I'm kind of torn because it doesn't quite look as tall with that on there, but I also like how it does cover up a lot of the frame and stuff. We'll leave it on there. Let's jump to the full reveal. Definitely let me know with or without the valance. All right, guys, well, here she is, finally completed. Definitely comment down below. Let me know what you think about this full, hopefully very detailed 6-inch lift install video for y'all. I think I put in enough work for it to come out really good to where y'all can do this same install yourselves. But let me know if you have any questions. I'll definitely try to answer them in the comments. But overall, kit is not super hard to do. It's just very time consuming, and that's probably my biggest thing. I mean, if you've installed a lift kit before, you know some of these things just take longer than they should. There's always something up that you need or you don't have, or you got to go to the parts store or something. So give yourself a full weekend, some buddies. If you're running a solo, give yourself several days, like myself. Don't stress over it. Give yourself plenty of a window, and you can get it knocked out, dude. So nothing is undoable on this kit if you got all the tools that I showed you and some definite willpower. But I think the result is really, really good. It's not super tall, of course. This is just a old school 6-inch lift kit. It's not crazy like some of the 9 to 12s that you see and stuff, or the 7.5s that have been cranked way up. It's just a good old classic 6-inch lift, which gives you enough clearance to clear the wheels and tires that you want. And I'm thinking we got to go wide, boys, on this thing, because I'll fully admit, I think the graps and the stocks looked better on it when it was on stock height, because now it's a little skinny tall. Whereas before it was just super beefy. We do also want to add some rear wheel spacers to even up with the front, as you can see right there. But dude, it looks super good. It's honestly a very, very nice size lift kit. So it's not too tall to where it's unusable or anything like that. It's clean. Hop right in this thing and go, which I'm stoked about. Have not driven it on the road. That's going to be a following video. I'm going to go, first time I drive it on the road, we're going to go to the alignment shop and get that knocked out, because I know my alignment is super out of whack. I tried dialing it in some, but I mean, there's not really that much use when I don't have anything reading it. So yeah, we got to get that knocked out. But I have high hopes for it. Riding good, feeling good, and I'm going to give you all the full review of that. Well, I'll film a video. Taking for a spin first time. We'll see how it rides before and after the alignment, and if anything comes up, we'll definitely be here to see. So she shined up pretty daggum good. Got them wheels shining at least. Yeah, it's clean. It's definitely a clean look. And if we did add that add leaf, I think it would have definitely raked it. Which, if you like that look, totally go for it. But I think it sits perfect with the keys how they are and those 4-inch lift blocks in the back. It's just a smidge lower in the rear, which obviously is all personal preference. If you want it higher, kit has the pieces to do it. I like that balance on there as well, but I am torn on the lower skid plate. Thinking about taking the lower one off because it does dip down, which obviously is there for protection, but I think it'll look taller without it. Either way, I'm just, enjoying it. Got the truck out for the first time, and it's not sitting on jack stands anymore, which has got me excited. Yeah, it's just looking good. So I know this video is long already, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet here at the end. Hopefully you did enjoy. Comment down below. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, or what you feel about the lift on here. And with that said, I'll see you all in the next video.